In a hidden chamber deep within the Louvre in the year 1589, a man stood before an ornate mirror, meticulously inspecting his reflection. His visage bore a quiet satisfaction, a fleeting emotion safe from the prying eyes of the public. His hands, slender and carefully manicured, adjusted the luxurious folds of a silk gown, exquisitely embroidered with golden threads that caught the light just so. The daring neckline of the dress revealed a smooth, powdered chest, delicately dusted with the highest quality French rice powder. Strings of lustrous pearls hung gracefully around his neck, and delicate earrings dangled from his ears. Atop his head, a lavish blonde wig sat, crowning the transformation he had crafted with such care, while a touch of rouge brought a vibrant life to his cheeks. In that rare and ephemeral moment, Henry III, King of France, ceased to exist, replaced by a mysterious, elegant woman, a captivating figure born from the depths of his suppressed and forbidden desires. This concealed identity represented the singular truth of one of Europe's most powerful monarchs. For decades, Henry III maintained this private feminine persona known only to a select few trusted confidants. Amid a kingdom ravaged by religious wars and beset by political treachery, the king found solace only when he could shed the heavy burdens of his royal identity and dress as he truly wished. But how did the last monarch of the Valois dynasty evolve into one of the most enigmatic and controversial figures in French history? Why did his adversaries leverage his private inclinations to tarnish his reputation irreparably, so much so that even today, the true narrative of this extraordinary king remains shrouded in obscurity? Our tale begins on September 19, 1551, in the magnificent palace of Fontainebleau, where a boy named Alexandre Edouard de France entered the world as the fourth son of King Henry II and the formidable Queen Catherine de' Medici. From his earliest days, the young prince who would one day be known as Henry III set himself apart from his more traditionally masculine brothers. Charles, his elder sibling, reveled in the rigors of warfare, while Francois embraced the thrill of hunting, embodying the behaviors expected of noble men. Alexander, however, gravitated towards the refined company of court ladies, entranced by their elegant gowns, sparkling jewels, and the cultured conversations surrounding poetry, literature, and art. Queen Catherine quickly observed her son's unique disposition. Unlike typical princes of the 16th century, Alexander showed little inclination towards conventional masculine pursuits. He found hunting distasteful, viewed fencing as brutish and unsophisticated, and preferred to immerse himself in discussions about Italian sonnets or watch the maids as they arranged the palace's chambers rather than wield a sword. Initially, Catherine endeavored to correct these traits by assigning stricter tutors, but she soon recognized the wisdom in accepting her son's nature and using it to her advantage within the cutthroat power dynamics of the French court. When Alexander turned 9, a shocking incident transpired that sent ripples of discomfort through the aristocracy. During a significant religious festival, the young prince mysteriously vanished for several hours, sparking a frantic search throughout the royal court. Ultimately, he was discovered hiding in the private chamber of one of his mother's ladies-in-waiting, joyfully donned in her most elegant gown, lost in a playful fantasy of being a princess imprisoned in an enchanted tower. Upon confronting his son, the stern and battle-hardened King Henry II was shocked when Alexander, unabashed and innocent, proclaimed, "I merely wanted to know what it feels like to be as beautiful as the ladies of the court." The expression on the king's face morphed from shock to horror. In his eyes, strength and masculinity were not mere expectations, they were absolute requirements. Furious, Henry decreed that his son be punished and summoned even harsher tutors to correct what he perceived as deviant behavior. Yet, such repression only drove the prince's tendencies deeper into hiding. Alexander learned quickly how to present an austere visage to the world while concealing his true self. His mother, always the tactician, modified her approach. She discreetly allowed him limited supervised access to the women's quarters, on the condition that he practiced the utmost discretion. Thus began Alexander's private exploration into femininity, done cautiously and under the watchful influence of his mother. Draped in exquisite gowns and cloaked in secrecy, he began a profound and earnest journey to understand his true identity. Catherine grasped something that eluded many others. A child with unconventional traits could evolve into a formidable political asset if managed correctly. Alexander's education was carefully designed to encompass both the responsibilities awaiting him as a future monarch and his secret passions. Alongside lessons in Latin, French, Spanish, and Italian, he cultivated a discerning appreciation for the visual arts and dance. He dazzled as a performer and became an exceptional dancer, learning not only from seasoned soldiers and diplomats but also from expert tailors, perfumers, and etiquette specialists. Officially, these lessons were vital for navigating the intricacies of life in the French court, but in truth, they nurtured the private world he was slowly sculpting on the fringes of society. In 1563, Alexander Eduard's life was irrevocably altered when his father, King Henry II, met a grisly fate during a jousting tournament. A splintered lance penetrated his helmet, inflicting fatal injuries that led to his prolonged agony before he died, passing the throne to Alexander's elder brother, Francois II. However, Francois governed only briefly, dying under dubious circumstances amid whispers of foul play. Charles IX, the youngest brother, was merely a child, and Catherine de' Medici stepped in as regent, ruling with ironclad resolve over a nation fractured by conflict. Suddenly, Alexander, the Duke of Anjou, found himself just a heartbeat away from the crown. As Charles IX reigned under their mother's guidance, Alexander observed keenly, absorbing the mechanics of diplomacy and military strategy and the undeniable significance of public image and theatrical appearances. It was during this period that he fully committed to what contemporary observers would recognize as drag or transformation. In the sanctum of the royal palace, with the support of a few loyal servants, he polished his secret feminine persona to an artful sheen. This was no mere pastime, it was an intricate performance. Each detail, down to expertly applied makeup, delicately styled hair, graceful posture, and an effeminate voice, was meticulously perfected. Centuries later, a forgotten diary unearthed in the archives of the Louvre would reveal astonishing insights into these intimate moments. "Today I remained Henrietta for 2 full hours," he wrote at 16, affectionately referring to his female alter ego. "Madame de Montonier saw me in the corridor and didn't recognize me. She claimed I was among the most elegant ladies she had ever encountered. The pleasure I felt was beyond description." These clandestine sessions became a crucial psychological refuge for the young prince, a means to escape the suffocating expectations of his royal identity. By 1569, at the tender age of 18, Alexander Eduard, despite his unconventional interests, was appointed supreme commander of the royal army by his brother, King Charles IX. This role would prove critical. Could a prince known for his genteel mannerisms and poetic inclinations lead hardened soldiers into the brutal theater of war? The answer came swiftly on the blood-soaked fields of Jarnac and Moncontour. Alexander astounded everyone with his audacious, effective strategies and charismatic leadership, decisively routing the Protestant forces through inventive tactics. Ironically, the very traits others mocked, his emotional intelligence, his attention to detail, and his intuitive understanding of human nature emerged as his greatest assets in warfare. These traits enabled him to anticipate enemy maneuvers and maintain an unusual calmness amid the chaos of battle. Yet even amidst the carnage, Alexander faithfully upheld his private rituals. After each military success, he would retreat to his private tent for hours, emerging with a fresh floral scent and an aura of serene tranquility, out of place on the battlefield. His men quickly learned to accept his peculiar habits without question. Then, in 1573, an unexpected opportunity arose. Following a meticulously coordinated diplomatic maneuver by his mother, Alexander was elected King of Poland and Grand Duke of Lithuania. It was a masterpiece of strategy involving generous bribes and carefully crafted marriage alliances, securing the necessary votes from Polish nobility. For Alexander, this new crown represented not just an elevation in status, but an escape from the critical gaze of the French court. As King of Poland, he took on the name Henry. Without delay, he began to reshape his royal court in Krakow, turning it into an extravagant showcase of luxury and eccentricity unlike anything Poland had ever seen. He arrived with a hand-picked entourage of strikingly beautiful and refined young Frenchmen, derisively dubbed les mignons, the darlings, by the Polish nobility. These young men were not mere companions, they were selected for their beauty, loyalty, and unique androgyny, serving as advisors, confidants, and something much more personal. Behind the palace walls, away from discerning eyes, Henry and his mignons engaged in elaborately staged rituals, transforming into grand ladies of high European nobility. This was no simple cross-dressing, it was theater art and a fantasy submerged in a sensual world of its own. They adorned themselves in exquisite gowns, styled each other's hair, skillfully applied makeup, and staged captivating dances and performances. A secret report from the Venetian ambassador in Krakow describes these clandestine gatherings with a mix of fascination and horror. His Polish Majesty and his favorites gather regularly in private quarters to partake in arts I dare not describe for fear of scandal. I have seen the king emerge dressed as a woman of astonishing beauty, with artificial breasts so perfectly crafted they could fool any man. His companions likewise transformed, accompanying him gracefully as if they were the noblest ladies of a royal fantasy court. However, such bliss and masked revelry could not endure. In May 1574, tragedy struck again. Henry's brother, King Charles IX, unexpectedly passed away, leaving no male heir. By blood, Henry himself was next in line for the French throne. This entailed a hasty yet calculated return. His return to France was akin to a grand orchestration of charm and spectacle. He spent 3 days in Venice, amassing rare silks, intricate jewelry, and sumptuous perfumes, all presented as gifts for his future queen. Yet, documents uncovered centuries later revealed the truth behind most of these opulent purchases. They were intended for him alone, for Enriqueta. The year 1574 saw Henry crowned King Henry III of France in a ceremony befitting a monarch, a solemn and magnificent occasion. Yet this crown marked not an elevation of freedom, but the onset of restriction. Back in France, the political atmosphere was hostile, with every facet of his life scrutinized. Nevertheless, Henry was determined to rule on his own terms, transforming the Louvre into an unparalleled epicenter of art, culture, and fashion. As the artistic world flourished around him, so too did the rumors, whispering about his unconventional lifestyle, his entourage of youthful companions, and his private rituals of transformation, all subjects of intense gossip and envy. Witnesses spoke of hours spent in elaborate preparation, during which Henry and his companions would assist each other in applying makeup, styling wigs, and donning gowns exceeding the grandeur of those worn by the noblest women in court. The final results of their efforts were so convincing that even palace servants sometimes failed to recognize Henry as he glided through the corridors at dawn dressed as a lady of the court. In 1575, Henry's marriage to Louise of Lorraine-Vaudemont appeared to be one of merely political alliance. Yet, counter to all expectations, a profound and sincere bond blossomed between them. Louise, astute, discreet, and surprisingly accepting of her husband's peculiarities, revealed an unexpected depth. Rather than being scandalized, she found intrigue in Henry's passion for fashion. Henry himself designed her wedding gown, impressing even the most seasoned royal tailor with his exceptional flair for women's fashion. Hours were spent together on the morning of their wedding as he skillfully crafted Louise's hair into a stunning masterpiece of curls and pearls that would set societal trends for years to come. Over time, Louise transformed from merely being the queen into Henry's confidant, occasionally even an accomplice in his secret endeavors. Papers unearthed during the 19th century disclosed that she not only lent him her gowns and accessories during his private transformations, but sometimes even assisted in the application of makeup, corsets, and characterization. Their bond, thus founded in strange yet intimate moments, remained a mystery for all outside their private circle. However, even the steadfast loyalty of a loving wife could not shield Henry from the encroaching storm. His enemies, keen Protestant extremists and staunch Catholics alike, seized upon every rumor to besmirch his reputation. Scandalous pamphlets emerged, portraying him as effeminate, sinful, and unworthy of rule. Accusations of sodomy and heresy soon plastered crude caricatures across the streets of Paris. The most damning assaults came in the form of questions regarding his masculinity, a piercing jab at an era when royal authority was intrinsically linked to strength, valor, and virility. Henry's flamboyant persona, his extravagant wardrobes, and his androgynous companions became fodder for a ruthless propaganda war. Amongst his most potent adversaries loomed the Catholic League, a potent faction led by the influential Guise family. With military support from Spain, the League fanned the flames of rebellion within the heart of Paris. On a fateful morning in May 1588, the city erupted into chaos. This day would forever be etched in history as the Day of the Barricades. As the streets morphed into a theater of insurrection, bolstered by Spanish arms and fervent Catholic zealotry, King Henry III found himself outmaneuvered and overwhelmed, forced to flee from his own capital in an utterly humiliating retreat. Seeking refuge in Blois, he was separated from the life he cherished most, his beloved mignons, the luxurious silks and perfumes that adorned his identity. Most devastating of all, he was cut off from Enriqueta, the very essence of peace and solace in his life. As a result, the king succumbed to a dark and debilitating depression, witnesses recounting his transformation from a vibrant ruler into a pale, withdrawn specter haunted by the weight of expectation and failure. His once resplendent aura, which had dazzled courts from Krakow to Venice, diminished before the gaze of a kingdom plunging into chaos. Yet, amid this despondence, Henry was not finished. In an act as theatrical and brutal as any of his private transformations, he orchestrated a bold and bloody decision. On December 23, 1588, he invited his fiercest rival, Henry de Guise, leader of the Catholic League, to engage in a private audience within the royal apartments in Blois. However, as Guise crossed the threshold, expecting to engage in diplomatic negotiations, he was met with a shocking ambush. His life was extinguished by the vigilant steel of the king's personal guards. This decisive act reverberated through the annals of history, pitting the enigmatic and complex Henry III against the turbulent backdrop of a nation wrestling with its very identity. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to support our work and never miss an upload. Like this video, drop a comment, and share it with others to show your support and help us grow this historical community.